Hi all! Everything in my video is pulled from the public domain, and I am using them under the Fair Use, Fair Dealings guidelines. Everything I say is my own opinion. You should look into this information for yourselves, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Good morning, everybody. Oh my goodness, as is usual, we have a lot to cover, and we're also going to be going through some information that I've previously given you, but I'm just going to be giving you a small little reminder about some of the lies that have come out of Meghan's mouth. But there's really a lot to cover. The royals have been out and about again. So let's just jump in and get there, shall we? Let's go. All right, we're going to start off with Anne this morning, and I already showed you yesterday that she went and visited the Riding for the Disabled Association in Wellington, New Zealand. And that was done because of the cyclone that came through. But you know how I feel when new photos come out. I feel like you guys didn't get the full picture of what Anne did that day. So here are the pictures I showed you, and then some more. As I've told you before, all their plans got changed. All the different places they were going to visit got changed. But I'm trying to keep up with everything, so that's what I'm doing. So I wanted to show you the extra photos. All right, let's move on. Sticking with Anne, you guys remember I showed you she was in this gorgeous outfit at the memorial service. Did you guys happen to notice the brooch that she's wearing? The brooch seems to have caught everybody's attention. It appears to be yellow gold and interwoven, and they found it interesting that it doesn't shine, so it's brushed or matted. And she's worn it at several events, including Royal Ascot in 2009, a garden party at Hillsborough Castle in 2022, but there's very little information out. We don't know if it was gifted, if it was a sentimental choice, who knows, but she looks lovely in it. Now, the next day, she wore another yellow outfit, and again, that gold brooch, to attend the memorial rededication ceremony at Christ Church. I love yellow on her. I think it just looks nice. Anne laid a wreath on a memorial at the Cathedral Square in Christ Church. I guess that's where it's located. There were lots of crowds there. All right, moving on. The Royal Air Force went to the Royal Air Force Chapel to honor the memory of the father of the Royal Air Force, Lord Trenchard. The memorial was witnessed by His Royal Highness the Duke of Kent and Sir Michael Wigston and Chris Elliott. Very nice. Next up, I'm very happy to announce that the Countess of Wessex has become the president of the Driffield Agricultural Society. Way to go, Sophie. All right, moving on to William and Catherine and their kids. Their children are on their half-term school holiday, so they took the older children, George and Charlotte, to meet the cast of the Amazon Prime Video's Lord of the Rings spin-off, The Rings of Power, and they got to tour the set. Now, before everybody goes, wait a minute, what happened to Prince Louis? You should know that Louis, this would have been very late for him. We know how cranky he can get. We saw it at the Platinum Jubilee, so they decided not to bring him. Nothing wrong with that. Good for them. All right, moving on now. All right, moving on to King Charles. He received Sultan Ahmed Al Jaber, who is the United Arab Emirates Minister of State and CEO of the Abu Dhabi National Oil Company and president of COP28 for an audience. The king also received the president of the Republic of Poland. All right, next up, Amazon indigenous leader Domingo Pease presented a gift to King Charles during a reception in support of Action on Global Biodiversity at Buckingham Palace. The reception was to discuss the practical delivery of global biodiversity. It's the framework of it. All right, way to go. Interestingly, this necklace that he got is made of seeds, which represents strength and support for nature. Very nice. As well as the Amazon and global unity, of course. Now, I may not put these in the correct order with the pictures, but also in presence was Lee White, who's the Minister of Water, Forests, and Sea and Environment, Christopher Béchu, Minister of Ecological Transition and Territorial Cohesion from France, Gustav Marinic, Minister of the Environment, Water, and Ecological Transition from Ecuador. Also present was Minister of State at Foreign Office, Department of Environmental and Department of International Development, Zach Goldsmith. Also, Britain's Secretary of State for Environment, Food, and Rural Affairs, Teresa Coffey. In other words, this was a big reception and they're talking about important things. All right, moving on. All right, next up, the Royal Collection Trust released an image of gin. It's pink. And they recently launched ahead of the Majesty's coronation in May. So it's gin that has been infused with raspberries grown on the royal estate in Windsor. I could get into some of that. Moving on. Now I showed you yesterday that the king went to Milton Keynes. And he went there because they were officially receiving their city status. Well, again, more pictures have come out and some video, and I wanted to show you all this. Now, I'm sure you guys remember these photos that I showed you yesterday of the protesters that were there, but I want you to see how much the crowd loved them. Look on the right. The king is waving at those people, right? Okay, watch this. He marched right up to those people. Okay, here's some more. I mean, you guys heard it. We love you, King Charles. Yes, people love this man. So he went in, he gave his speech, he conferred the status to the city, and then he came out. Now, on his way in, we saw the dancers there. These were dancers from India Day who welcomed King Charles with 3 different cultural dance forms. I'm not even going to try to pronounce them, but they were outside the church. Now, on his way out, he was given flowers for the queen. You know, she's homesick with COVID. He met some ladies from the Ukraine, and of course, the dance group. That's when they finally were introduced. And they threw rose petals at him as he left. How cool. Now, I must say, I completely agree with the Caribbean prince who pointed out that there were many people of Black and Asian descent who loved King Charles and were not part of the only 11 protesters that were there. And I love this photo because that is so indicative of the Commonwealth. It's just such a large group of different ethnicity. You guys know I have trouble saying that word, but there you go. Love it. All right, moving on. All right, now we're moving on. Keep It Real 1 pointed out a couple of things that Harry and Meghan are supposedly wanting an apology for because the palace didn't back them up in what they were doing. We all saw what Harry said. He's demanded an apology from the royal family with him saying, you know what you did, I know why you did it, and you've been caught out, so just come clean. Could it have anything to do with this tweet? The family maybe knew there was a surrogate involved and didn't back them up the way they felt they should have been backed up? Very interesting. Maybe it has something to do with the inflating, deflating baby bump. That could be it. You know, any way you look at it, they've been caught lying. Meghan's been caught lying red-handed. The house of cards is falling. So let's look at some of those. First, we have we never called them racist. Even though statements from the Oprah interview clearly intimated that. And of course, Gayle King went on the news the next morning saying that they had receipts of the racist stuff. Lie number 2, Meghan Markle, it was put out, she was an intern for the U.S. Embassy in Argentina. She made it sound like she was there for like a year or 2, and also that she speaks fluent Spanish, something you've never heard come out of her mouth. We'll cover that in a second. Well, Meghan has stepped up. That is absolutely not true. It was a 5-week internship for a class in international relations. Her uncle had to step in and even get her that, and her father paid for it. And as for her speaking Spanish, I myself can say a few phrases in German. Könnte ich bitte ein Glas Wasser bekommen, mit oder ohne Eis? Just because I can say a few phrases doesn't mean I can have a conversation in German. And I don't think she's ever had a conversation on camera with somebody in Spanish, because I don't think she can speak it. Lie number 3, Meghan gave a speech and said that she paid her way through college with work-study programs and scholarships, etc., etc. Listen to this.
It was through scholarships, financial aid programs, and work-study, where my earnings from a job on campus went directly towards my tuition, that I was able to attend university.
And of course, Thomas Markle came up with receipts. He paid for all of her school fees, her private fees, her university fees, and the little bit of loans that she took out, he was paying off even after she became famous. So that was another lie. How about Meghan Markle sitting on the Oprah couch saying that Samantha changed her name back to Markle only after she started dating Harry? Well, it didn't take long for Samantha to come up with the legal documentation that proved that was a lie. And just in case you're unaware, that document is dated 1997. And then, of course, there's her college degree that says Markle. Ay. Here's the email, line number 4, that she sent to Jason Knopf, where she clearly says that Samantha Markle lost custody of her 3 children. And of course, now they've documented that she might have inadvertently said that, and she admits that's incorrect. How about Meghan Markle saying that she didn't Google the royals before she was married and she knew nothing about Harry except what he was telling her? Remember this?
Really refreshing, because given that I didn't know a lot about him, everything that I've learned about him, I learned through him, as opposed to having grown up around different news stories or tabloids or whatever else. Anything I learned about him and his family was what he would share with me, and vice versa.
And of course, she repeated that claim on the Oprah show, I never Googled my husband. And then it came out in the Netflix show that she had looked at his Instagram account. And now it's come out that she wrote all about the royal wedding in the TIG before she ever met Harry. So this whole thing about I was unaware of them is also another huge lie. So yeah, now let's move on to the whole South Park thing. A lot of people in the UK are having discussions online and talking about Harry and Meghan, they're hypocritical. But more than that, there's discussions now about what the United States really thinks of them and what Harry and Meghan are making of what they said on South Park. And this is Jack Royston on this TV show. Listen to this.
This is a big deal, isn't it, that they have had the Mickey taken out of them on a massive show like that. It's like when you're in The Simpsons, it's always an accolade.
Yeah.
When you're in South Park, I'm not sure so
Proper
much.
celebrity thing. I mean, you know, the big stars have all been mocked this way.
This is a big thing that's happening in America now, is that they've transitioned from being kind of Obama 2.0, these really serious celebrities, into being figures of ridicule. It's not just South Park, it's been Saturday Night Live and, you know, Jimmy Fallon and other US big mainstream comedy shows. So it's a big transition. We actually did some polling before Harry's book came out and then again afterwards, and they have crashed in the US opinion polls.
Have they?
Yeah, so public opinion in America has swung significantly against them. Harry dropped 45 points in the US opinion
Meaning
polls.
what was the sort of question that was being asked?
Do you feel favourably or unfavourably about Prince Harry and Meghan? So Harry was, you know, they were deep into positive numbers, you know, absolutely sitting pretty in America before Netflix, and then now they're both in minus numbers. So
I mean, does it matter? Because their Netflix series was the biggest show that Netflix had ever done. I mean,
Yeah.
whether they're still making money,
They're
right?
making
Which is
loads.
what they want, Ian. So this is good for them, is it? Do you think? I mean, it's embarrassing and it's probably very hard to watch.
I think they care deeply about their reputation, and that those polling numbers, as you say, Jack, are very, very graphic. And I mean, some of us have not changed our opinions of those two over the months. I think the book was an incredibly bad mistake. It's a terror. I mean, I've got to about page 60 and I just can't be bothered to go on any longer. I mean, it's written by a professional ghostwriter. Well, they didn't pick very well, is all I can say. And I think the book has actually been more damaging than the Netflix series.
Now, I agree with the Caribbean Prince here. There was a teachable moment at the end because Harry realizes, you know what, I can get rid of all this superficial stuff. I really can go and have the private, quiet life that I want. And he says, come on, honey, basically. And the Meghan person just stands there. And Harry opens her up and goes, hello. Hello, and realizes that she's nothing but an empty vessel. And he walks away without her. And at the end, you see him happy playing drums by himself with the little kids. There is a teachable moment in there. Now, you guys should know the Sussex Squad is having an absolute meltdown, okay? So they took this, look at above, South Park's history of dragging the royals. This episode is called Royal Puddin', and it spoofed the wedding of the Prince and Princess of Wales. And there's even a thing here, you can freeze it and read it, and it explains what the episode was actually about. So I don't know if the Daily Mail's aware of this. They're taking this title and they've changed it to this title. Yeah. They're having a meltdown, you guys. Like, they're falling apart. It's kind of fun to watch, though. And I have to thank Duchess Pinocchio for this. I mean, I don't get it. They even showed his blue penis on the left. He's always in a window doing something. Juggling, showing his blue penis. I mean, I'm unbelievable. Now, I would like to say that I wonder if Harry and Meghan are concerned because they literally are showing you what the United States and what the world thinks of you. You have become a laughingstock. Now, they've made the UK, they've ruined it in the US. Where are they going to go next? This ought to be interesting. Now, I wanted to end on a high note, so I'm going to end with this. Queen Camilla has had a boost in her popularity since the trolls, including Shouty Shola, attacked her. So the more they spew hate at her, the more the UK public loves her. It's the same thing with Harry and Meghan. The more they spew hate at the royal family, the worse their ratings and the better the ratings of the royal family. You guys, I've been telling you this since the beginning. Karma, it's a strong thing. It really, really is. Be careful. All right, you guys. Once again, lots and lots and lots of information. I am keeping my eye on the lawsuit. Because, you know, at this point, I have to agree with Lady C. Even if Meghan wins, she loses because the public in the United States now hate them. Make all the money you want. The public don't like you and they don't like Harry, and you've lost no matter what happens, really. All right. Don't forget to leave those comments. Don't forget to check that subscribe button. If you've already hit it, double check. Make sure you're still subscribed. If you haven't hit it, go ahead and hit it now. Don't forget to go up into the description box and you'll find the links there for my Twitter, my Getter, my Rumble, my email, my Patreon. For those of you who donate to my coffee fund and through the thanks button, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.